You're locked on to Scotty G and Friends on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
97.5, the KSL Sports Zone, hour number 2 of the program. Always great to catch up every Tuesday with Kurt Helin, NBC Sports and ProBasketballTalk.com. Hey, Kurt, only 3 games left for the Utah Jazz. Losers of 9 in a row. They want to go in with a 12-game losing skid to try to ensure that Oklahoma City stays away from that draft pick. But the long season is about to come here in Salt Lake City, and people are pretty fired up.
I would, yeah, exactly. I think that the fan base should be, because you're going to be adding a draft pick wherever it lands to what is a really nice core already with JJ coming in, getting Lauri Markkanen back, the way Keontae George has made a leap. There's a lot of reasons to be optimistic, even if you have to suffer through 140 whatever minutes left of maybe not the best basketball ever. The light at the end of the tunnel isn't an oncoming train this time. There's real reason for optimism, because this is going to be a much better and far more entertaining team next year. Whatever they end up shaking out like, it's going to be quality basketball.
So when you look at this Jazz team, at what point in the draft would you start drafting for position? Is it after 5, after 6? Let's say they end up with the 8th overall pick. Is there a certain level where it's like, okay, we're not just taking best player available anymore, we're going to start drafting by position? Or does that not even come into the equation at all?
It does a little bit. I will say most teams kind of operate on a tier system. So they will say, and I'll just use the top 3 guys as a hypothetical. If you say you have A.J. Debonsa and Cameron Boozer and Peterson all in the same tier, which I don't think most teams do. But hypothetically, if you've got them all in the same tier, then you're like, well, all right, what position helps us more? Where does this guy fit better? Which one of them fits better with our system? And where the Jazz most likely land in that, 5 through 8, wherever that lands, that's just a bunch of good point guards. And it becomes about, do you just like one of them more on the board? Do you end up liking Fleming more than Brown? Or if you've kind of got them all equal, then you're going for a position, or is there somebody else out there that you think is sneaky better, should be in that spot? So I think look, at the end of the day, what you don't want to do is go, man, we don't need Luka Doncic. We got De'Aaron Fox. We're good. Like, you make those, the whole MJ and Sam Bowie thing with Clyde Drexler. Like, don't do that. Take the best player on the board. But if it comes down to like, hey, I got these guys really close, then you start to think about position and fit a little more. So it kind of depends on how their board shakes out.
Has AJ separated himself from everybody else at number 1?
On most boards, and I don't have a ton of. I haven't talked to every team by any stretch, but I will say most teams have him number 1 now, because the concern with Boozer is just athleticism, and look, he's going to be good. He has the highest floor of any of these guys. He's going to be a very good player in the NBA, but there's concerns about his athleticism and how he's going to, how that's going to work at the next level. And then obviously with Peterson and the health issues. And so Debonsa has just separated himself and like, hey man, like the ceiling for this guy is through the roof. And I trust him a little more than Peterson, but not every team is there. There's still some real Peterson fans out there. And I've read from other reports that there's other teams that would like, man, and kind of how safe does a GM feel in his job? Is he willing to take the risk, or is he like, Boozer's not going to be bad. I won't mess up Boozer. And again, you could try to argue, I don't know that it works in Utah, but like you could really argue that putting Boozer in the mix in that front line with Markkanen and Jaren Jackson Jr. and I'm going blank on center suddenly.
Kessler.
Thank you. I could not come up with Kessler. But if you put him in that mix, like instantly going to help you and put you in a position, even if he doesn't start, you get a lot more Dylan Harper in San Antonio, where I still think Dylan Harper might be the second best guy in this class 2-3 years from now. but he doesn't have to play. He's not even going to make the top. He's not going to be top 3 in Rookie of the Year voting. He's just not getting the run this year because they don't need him to.
All right. Speaking of Rookie of the Year, I know you're a voter, so I will ask you at the end of this because I want to persuade you and other voters. Cooper Flagg is going to have a remarkable career. He will be a perennial all-star. He'll have multiple MVPs. He'll probably win a title or two along the way. He's going to be great. He's going to be fantastic. He'll be considered one of the best players in the league at any given moment. Let Con have this one. Let Con Knipple have this. Cooper's going to get everything else. Give Con the Rookie of the Year.
Well, you didn't really have to convince me. I already had Con number 1.
Okay,
and
good.
Just for because at the end of the day, for me, and I know that there's other people who are like try to look. I don't want to be the guy like, well, I wonder what this guy will be like in 5 years. I'm not a scout. I don't know that. I do agree with you. Look, I think Cooper is going to be the best player in this class 5 years from now, and you've kind of seen it lately, like the 50-point game the other night and stuff. Like he's going to be a monster, and Dallas lucked out and can build around him. But Con's been better this year, and in 2 key ways for me. Well, A, minutes played and games played. He's just played a bunch more. But B, he's more efficient as a scorer. He's just so efficient. And I think Flagg's efficiency will improve, but Con walked in the door doing this. And most important to me, when you're getting in this tight situation with Rookie of the Year, Con is playing meaningful minutes for a team going to the postseason. Like, these games matter to them. They are playing really well. They have a legit chance to actually maybe even climb out of the play-in still, although that's a little bit of a longer shot, but be a top 8 seed and make the playoffs. And man, I want to see them in the playoffs. I want to see them they would make Detroit or Boston work for it in the first round. So,
yeah.
But he's played in these meaningful minutes, and that matters. That he has stepped up in those kind of things absolutely is key for me. So yeah, I've got Con 1, Flagg 2, and VJ Edgecombe 3rd, and Dylan Harper is a lock, my other lock for first team All NBA, and then All Rookie. And then honestly, I've got to sit down with them later this week and kind of parse out exactly where Ace and the other rookies I've got on that list fit in terms of All Rookie team.
So watching Denver and that great game against San Antonio, and then the crazy rally last night, is Denver playing their best basketball going into the playoffs?
Yeah, and I mean, we've had this conversation all season, Scotty, haven't we? Been like,
yeah.
If they get healthy, when they get right, watch out for this team. They're really dangerous. Well, they got right, and they're healthy. I mean, Peyton Watson was out the other night, but they are peaking at the right time, and you saw in this game where they came back, forced overtime, beat the Spurs. They're a legitimate threat to win it all, and it really puts a little more pressure on OKC, who's got what's left of the Lakers tonight and a couple other games that they want to win, because you don't want to be the 2-3 seed. That 2-3 battle in the West, not that if you're 1-4, you're going to get probably Minnesota or Houston in the second round, and that's not a cakewalk. But man, I don't want Denver. I don't want Denver or San Antonio in that second round. You need to. That is 2 of the 3 best teams in the league playing in the second round, and it's going to be hard.
Make game day yours. Tickets, food and drinks, stats, and streaming. Everything you need is in the Utah Mammoth app. Download today and make game night easy. Download on both Android and iPhone. Just top.
You're listening to this podcast, so I know you've got a curious mind. Here's a helpful fact you might not know yet. Drivers who switch and save with Progressive save over $900 on average. Pop over to Progressive.com. Answer some questions, and you'll get a quick quote with discounts that are easy to come by. In fact, 99% of their auto customers earn at least one discount. Visit Progressive.com and see if you can enjoy a little cash back. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. National average 12-month savings of $946 by new customers surveyed who saved with Progressive between June 2024 and May 2025. Potential savings will vary.
Kurt Helin, NBC Sports and ProBasketballTalk.com, kind enough to join us here on the Zone for his weekly conversation. I think both sides tried to be as diplomatic as they possibly could, but we were always scorching towards an ugly ending in Milwaukee, and it certainly appears that this offseason, I know everybody tried to take the high road. They wanted the kids to be happy. Mom and dad weren't getting along, but they were trying to put on a good face. There's just no way this thing's going to end well.
No, it's not. And without going too far down the rabbit hole here, because I don't, I'm not Shams. I don't have the sources he has. I don't know who he spoke to. And first off, it's not really a secret around the league that they've been pushing a little bit to get out, to get out without Giannis wanting to say, I want out publicly. Mm-hmm. And he just didn't want to be that guy. And it was ownership that said, we get a better deal this summer. Let's sit on this. But it's now what's coming out. And again, this is largely, I think, fueled by the agent and Giannis's camp. It's over. It's done. They want out. They're going to go wherever they end up landing this summer, but it's going to be messy. And it's just time. It frankly was probably time a year or two ago, but they kept trying to stretch this out because if you're Milwaukee, I mean, when was the last time they had Kareem and then they had Giannis? Like, that's a pretty big gap in time. So you don't want to just throw that away because you don't know when you're going to get the next guy like that. So I kind of get where they were, but they may have hurt themselves and backed themselves. They backed themselves into a little bit of a corner because he's only got one, assuming he opts in, he's got 1 year left on that contract, or opts out, I mean. Well, now he's got a ton of leverage about where he goes, and you will not get the return you'd wanted to if you'd done this a summer ago.
Yeah, see, that's my thought, is that if you're Milwaukee, you kind of had a feeling where this was going. And even in this season, in the right before trade deadline, if you thought, well, we'll get more in the offseason, well, you roll the dice, and now the word's out that he wants out, and you're going to get pennies on the dollar. The one thing that the Jazz did a really good job with Donovan Mitchell, they knew Donovan wanted out, and they're like, okay, we're going to facilitate this, but you got to allow us to get the most out. Keep your mouth shut. We'll keep our mouth shut, and we'll get something done. But the more you talk, the less options we have. So just be cool, and we'll get this thing done. And that's what they did, and the Jazz were able to get a nice haul for him.
Exactly. And if you can keep those things amicable as relatively as they're going to be, then two things happen. A, like you said, you just get more back, right? And Cleveland was not on the top of Donovan's list, but then you go and, hey, man, you're going to go to a team where you can help them contend. That really hasn't panned out exactly like they hoped yet. But, by the way, they've still got a real path. Donovan, if they finish fourth, they've got a real path to the Eastern Conference Finals. But you're going to go to this better team, and it might not have been a team on his list, but you can sell him on the opportunity. Where now, like you said, this is bad with Giannis, and he's going to really dictate whether it's New York or Miami or whatever. But it's going to be much harder to pull in the unexpected team with the larger offer at this point. Like, I just don't know where. I don't know where that's going to come from that he's going to agree to, because now he's got a lot of leverage in this situation, and he's not exactly inclined to be nice to them at this point.
Nope, no, sir. I know you've got an MVP vote. Is it still Shea, or is Wemby creeping up? How do you have those guys?
I got Bronny first, Bronny James, and then no.
That's why I would love you, Kurt.
Yeah, I have Shea 1, Wemby 2, probably Jokic 3 now with Luka missing a little time. I had that flipped, but I'll probably flip them back. And we'll see if Luka's even on the board. I got a feeling he's going to get granted this exceptional situation extension, whatever the term is, for allowing him to stay in the mix with 64 games, just because if the league is going to say, I'm sorry you went to be with the birth of your child, that's not good enough. That's a bad – there's bad PR coming with that one. So I think he gets in, and then in that case he ends up probably fourth on my ballot. He probably finishes fourth or fifth, and Jalen's in the mix. If he leaves, honestly, now it comes back to your boy Donovan Mitchell or Kawhi for that fifth spot, which would be interesting.
Yeah, interesting. Kurt Helin joining us, NBC Sports and ProBasketballTalk.com. You and I think we've compared Detroit a lot to the Jazz a few years ago when they were the number one seed, but nobody really took them seriously as an NBA potential champion. We kind of look at the Pistons the same way, but if Cunningham comes back and he's relatively healthy, do you up the odds on them quite a bit?
A little bit, in the sense that I just trust their defense so much. They have been so – look, they've gone – well, I think it's 8-3 now, but 8-2 with him in the games that mattered. They lost the other night, but they've now locked up the number one seed. So at that point, anything that happens, I don't take too seriously. I think their defense can get them through for a while, but I still think at the end of the day, not having a high-level second shot creator could be an issue. I guess the question becomes – and Dennis Jenkins has been really good. Is he suddenly capable of being that guy and we just didn't expect it? We were like, they need to go get that second shot creator. Maybe they had it on the roster and they didn't know it. We didn't know it. And now they do. It's interesting in an East where, the second round matchup, I think there's a kind of clear delineation in the East between as much as like it's fun to fantasize about what Philadelphia could be or whatever. I think there's a pretty clear delineation between the top four and the rest of the conference. So if it's Cleveland and Detroit in the second round, and we're like, maybe Cleveland can get the upset there. Maybe not. Maybe Detroit's just too good for them. And I still think Boston, though, is it just me? Like right now, it feels like Boston is, I don't know if it's head and shoulders, but head better than
I'm with you.
They're just better than everybody right now.
So Billy Donovan stays put in Chicago, and whether or not North Carolina went after him or not, it does appear that there's something going on there because he stays, and they clean house in the front office. Were those events related in some way, shape, or form?
A little bit, yeah. First off, do you like Mike Malone in UNC?
It is going to be a colossal dumpster fire that I cannot wait to watch. It's like Bill Belichick 2.0.
It very well could be. I'm curious. Here's the thing. My interactions with Mike Malone, my sense of him is he's going to enjoy the control, the ability to be a little dictator that you get as a college, you can be as a college coach. You have so much more control and say and power than you do as an NBA head coach, and like in terms of players, in terms of some, to a degree, in terms of stuff. But that man's a yeller. Yeah, and that's an in-your-face guy, and I am not sure how that's going to play out over time in college. It's going to be. I'm curious because like his X's and O's are great. The question isn't can he coach, but can he coach college? Is like, yeah, it has dumpster fire potential, doesn't it?
Yeah, and it might work too, but there's a couple things, and I'm just going by a couple local guys here. Kevin Young, who was with Phoenix, is now the coach at BYU, and they've had so much talent there that they've been successful. But even he's talked about how hard it was to adjust to the spacing of the game and how congested the college game is compared to the NBA. And then Alex Jensen, who obviously a long time with the Jazz, now with the University of Utah, said the same thing. I think NBA coaches have a hard time coming down and coaching this because they're used to the game being a lot more fluid, and there's a lot more sets and things that you have to install for college kids. Plus, and I mean this with nothing but love, college kids are kind of dumb and they do stupid things.
Oh yeah, no,
and you have to coach them nonstop.
As you know, I live, a golf shot away from the pyramid at Long Beach State, and I go to some games there just to have a beer and watch a game and just watch basketball as a fan and not have to stress about, whatever. And my wife keeps punching me in the arm because I keep thinking like out loud, I'm like, why did you, don't you see the open guy? Oh, okay. So there's going to be some of that. And also, I think the spacing thing is a really good salient point. I hadn't really thought about that. But you know what helps your spacing? Nikola Jokic. So it really improves your spacing considerably to have the best player on the planet. So that will help. As for the Bulls, by the way, to round back to the question, Donovan didn't want to tank. Ownership doesn't want to tank. They're kind of on the treadmill of mediocrity, stuck in the middle, where they keep winning 38 to 44 games and never getting very far in the. They're not good enough to go anywhere in the playoffs or even get out of the play-in half the time, but they're also not bad enough to have a high draft pick, so they're just kind of stuck in the middle. I don't know how We'll see if a new GM can really change that dynamic. They've got some cap space this summer, but at the end of the day, they need a lot more talent. And if they're not going to tank and they're not going to get it through the draft and they're not going to go into the tax because the owner won't do that either, I'm not sure that it matters. But Donovan and ownership are on the same page, and the GM wanted to tank a little, and here we are.
And there you go. You got a couple of guys out of a job. Hey, Kurt, we appreciate it, man. Great stuff as always. Thanks for your time, and let's do it again here very soon.
I look forward to it. Take care, Scotty.
You got it. Kurt Helin, NBC Sports, ProBasketballTalk.com.